Welcome, everyone. This is Mariusz Konieczny. Aduro just had a monumental press release, probably the best, not probably, the best possible news in the company's history. And to discuss it, I'm going to talk with Yazan, who is a big shareholder in Aduro, to help us understand from his point of view what this means, how he views it, and maybe we can learn something. So Yazan, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. So let me start off with, giving the caveat. Yes, I'm a big shareholder, so clearly I am biased. Um, this is a significant milestone, as you mentioned, Mariusz. I can't think of a bigger milestone for Aduro or for any company that I follow in the microcap space, ESG space, that has been able to attach such a significant name to it. And you asked a great question. You said, "Why do you think it's such a monumental PR?" And I think the common denominator or the common criticism that we always get on Aduro has been, first of all, how do you know that they're going to be able to scale? Well, today you got your answer. Shell verbatim said that the Game Changer program is meant to help the company that gets selected to scale and to go to commercial stage. And the second common criticism that we get is, well, if Aduro is such a significant and great and has figured out the technology to upscale, plastics, how come none of the majors have, come to them and partnered with them? And again, today, $180 billion plus company has announced that this technology is verbatim, the word is game changer. And so it is not, I cannot undermine how significant this milestone is.
Do you think that now, after this press release and Shell, which is, a huge company, everybody knows about Shell, being, attached to this technology, do you think other companies in the plastic industry will take notice?
Absolutely. I mean, this is literally like, needless to go into the details. I mean, I've been kind of trying to kind of poke Ofer and everyone every time that they say, "Oh, we're in discussions with majors." I'm like who? And it, knowing them, that they're very low key, so they never say who. But you know, today this major is not only allowing Aduro to use their name. So typically, a major would say a major oil and gas company or something as such, but they actually allowed them in the PR to use their name. And now this PR is not going to be only on social media, it's going to be also on their website, on Shell's website. They're going to allow, based on speaking to Abe briefly, they're going to allow Aduro to use their logo on their website. So it's just going to open up a significant amount of opportunity for Aduro that it would have never had prior to today. Now, just to kind of caution the enthusiasm that I do have right now, I don't expect this to be like, we're going to start seeing one of these every week or every month. But literally, it puts Aduro on the map of all of the majors that prior to this, some of them may have been already in discussion with them, but they've been kind of shying away of putting their name or waiting for someone else to do that. And today is that day, the day where, a significant player in the plastics and ONG came in and announce them as a game changer technology.
You know how when I was visiting the company and originally made my videos, I was talking about the company working on R2, which is a continuous flow. And now this announcement comes out, and like the R2 for plastic isn't the idea was to finish R2 for plastic, and then we're going to engage. And here we are with this announcement, and R2 is not even done.
You nailed it. So this was the other thing that kind of like was, what? You know, like, to me, you know, these guys have spent several months in discussions with Aduro because, you know, from the verbiage of this PR, from knowing, you know, the size of this company, this is not an overnight deal. This definitely has consummated several months. So these guys have done their diligence, done their technical DD, and then selected Aduro based on bench scale. So that is massive. That's based on a batch scale at a lab. And you know, if you look at the criteria for a game changer, you will see that most of the companies that they look at are companies that are way closer to commercialization. The reason in this case they picked up Aduro is the category they went after is called decarbonization or chemical decarbonization. And again, from speaking with Abe this morning, I understand that, you know, there were only a few companies that submitted to that category, and only Aduro was selected. So it speaks to the uniqueness of this proposition, and the fact that, again, I keep going back to the idea that, you know, selecting Aduro is one thing, them allowing Aduro to announce them is a complete different story.
You mentioned earlier that Shell would be helping Aduro or partner with them and help them with the commercialization aspect of this technology. Can you elaborate more on this?
Sure. So basically, again, the today with this announcement, Aduro now have a partner that has the financial and the human means that can allow them to take this technology from the R2 once it's done to the R3, which is a semi-commercial. And for those that are new to this, the R3 is basically the tons per day. And we call it semi-commercial because this is when a lot of other players typically come into play. A lot of players typically will not touch a company that is dealing with a scale of less than tons per day. So that's, again, another reason why this is significant.
Why do you think that Shell was the first company to do this? I mean, there's plenty of other plastic companies, but why do you think Shell was the one that pulled the trigger?
That's a great question. So if you think about it, if you look at some of the other players, Procter & Gamble, they're in bed with PureCycle. If you look at Dow, they're in bed with Mura. And Shell has been around the block. They have made it a very key aspect because it's a key side of their business, which is the plastic side. They've been trying to find the right partner to help them deal with their plastics. Now, the nice thing that I really find, or very interesting that I find in this, is that if you do some digging, you'll find that Shell has signed a letter of intent with Licella before, but they never became a definitive. And that tells me that they saw in Aduro something that they couldn't find in Licella. And again, it shows you that Shell does not want to get married to any of the other players that are, pretty much the same technology, thermal, mechanical, the same, approaches that Ofer and the team has talked about. So this is definitely, again, speaks to the uniqueness of the platform. Now, the other part of it is also talking about one of the comments that I think Ofer mentioned a few times with you and with others, is that these majors, they don't want to be engaged in a second best solution. They want to have the best solution with them. So the minute that they find something that is disruptive like this, they want to be embedded with it. They want to have, their name all over it, and they want to have an early entry because clearly, as much as I love the fact that they're announcing it and so on, we know for sure that as Shell, they're going to get a great deal relative to the second or third partner that comes and partners up with Aduro.
So Shell, just to have a better understanding, Shell is a big plastic company, but they're also obviously involved in oil and gas. So is Shell doing this to figure out how to take plastic and make more plastic, or are they interested to take plastic and turn it into some oil product?
So this is a great question. So a lot of people don't know that, everyone thinks I'm driving by and I see this gas station called Shell, and that's what I know about Shell. But if you go and check in Brightlands, if you check, which is, one of the places where Aduro is, if you check in many of the chemical hubs for chemistry, you'll find Shell all over it. Shell has a significant business in the plastic side, and that business is only growing. And to go back to that, one of the early parts of your investment thesis and mine, which is that 2025 deadline. So Shell, similar to everyone else, is trying to find a partner that is going to be helping them with all that expansion that they have and recycle all that additional expansion that they have from plastic side of things. So are they going to be using the output, or is the throughput going to be high value diesel, or is it going to be fuel or something as such? Maybe. But at this stage, the elephant in the room is they have millions and millions of tons of plastic that they produce every year, and they're only expanding that division, and they need to figure out a solution to recycle that plastic.
Interesting. Okay. Well, thank you for your thoughts. Is there anything else that you would like to discuss about this announcement that we didn't cover yet?
Not really. I would want to really advise your listeners that this is not a common PR that is to be seen. Shell, 180 billion plus company, signing up and partnering up with a company that is sub 40 million market cap is, again, it's an unheard of, and allowing them to use the name is really unheard of. So I really recommend to your followers to take a listen to this, take a listen to what the company has to say about this, because this is, from a standpoint of every shareholder, a significant de-risking event that should unlever a significant valuation unlock. And I would imagine that the valuation unlock is going to happen in the next, few days, few weeks, or few months. It doesn't really matter to me, but suddenly this investment thesis has become so de-risked, because now I know that there's a major that is publicly announced that is in bed with them. I know that the scaling is no longer as much of a concern to me as a shareholder, and I know that others are going to be knocking on their door.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your thoughts and in helping us understand how you see it yourself as an investor.
Thank you so much, Mariusz, for having me. Have a good one.